Welcome, everyone, and good morning. For those of you who've been to Itron Utility Week before, you have heard me say on many times that this is our favorite time of year because the opportunity to spend a couple of days with you, our customers, is the most important part of our business calendar. The opportunity to spend time listening to you about your businesses and your challenges and how we can work together to improve things is absolutely indispensable for us. We also hope that you'll take the opportunity of listening to what's new at Itron and how we can work together in the future, and that gives us a tremendous opportunity to connect. Over the next couple of days, we have over 100 sessions, the majority of them led by you, in which you're talking about how you're driving innovation inside your organizations. And we've got a number of sessions to tell you about our thoughts about innovation. And together, we have this great opportunity to talk about the transformation of our industry, both because of challenges that we face internally, growing demands that we face internally within our companies, but also changes that are going on externally. So our goal is to really work together to explore this opportunity for transformation. I'd like to extend a special welcome, though, to those who are here at Itron Utility Week for the first time that came through the acquisition of Silver Spring Networks. Could I ask those people to just raise their hands who are from customers that were served by Silver Spring Networks? And if those of you in the room could look around and look for these people and make a special effort to welcome them into the Itron user community, I would really appreciate that. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize and thank our host utility, Southwest Gas. We're going to hear in a few moments from Louis Frisbee from Southwest Gas. I really appreciate their local sponsorship. You know, when I think of Scottsdale, Scottsdale was most recently in the news for me, unfortunately, around the sad memorial service for John McCain. Such an extraordinary American dedicated to service, somebody who had such high and inspirational values. And I thought that these were really important messages at a time, kind of a complicated time nationally. And it was such an inspiration to hear about him. And as I was thinking about John McCain, one of the things I remembered was when he ran for president of the United States, his campaign bus was called, remember, the Straight Talk Express. He did something no politician would do these days, is he hung out all day and all night with journalists in this unscripted way in which he answered questions and talked to people sitting in his bus in this very relaxed fashion. I'd like to dedicate the next couple of days to the concept of the Straight Talk Express, in which we speak very directly and clearly to one another, and in particular, we at Itron are really interested in hearing from you about how we can improve, where we've done things well, where there are opportunities in order to drive more value. We absolutely welcome that. So with that, let's talk about our view of how our industry is transforming. In a few minutes, you're going to hear again from Marina Donovan talking about the Itron Resourcefulness Report. This is work that we've done over the past 5 or 6 years, and we have interviewed over 1,000 utility executives and 1,000 informed consumers to talk about what's shaping the industry. Oh, and this is in over 10 countries, by the way. What's shaping the industry, where are there opportunities for improvement, and hearing these multiple voices talk about how we can create a more resourceful world. And there are 4 things that kind of stood out for me in the work that we did there. The first is, you are being asked to do more with less all the time. There is a relentless push for improving the operational efficiency of the utility. And that represents a really significant challenge. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but it's really how do you reach beyond using the kind of technology that we've worked on together to gather electricity, gas, and water information, to using that information to better understand how to manage capital, do asset management, reduce operations and maintenance costs, dealing with aging workforce, all of these internal operational challenges that you have to work on. At the same time, you are being asked to increase the reliability and the resilience of your networks. And that's particularly challenging at a time in which we're experiencing sustained and severe weather events and disruptions. But the technology that we're talking about and working on gives us the opportunity to have better situational awareness and be able to improve the overall reliability of the network. So that's a great area for collaboration and discussion. The third area is the relationship that you have with your customers, the demands and kind of almost the redefinition of that relationship in a digital age in which other industries, through smartphones and through on-demand kinds of car hailing services and all this sort of stuff, have changed the expectations of all of us and all of our customers to want it right now, to want to get on my phone, to wanting the information instantaneously, to being able to interact in this very new way that's typically very challenging for the utility to respond to. And in order to enable that kind of digitization, this new interaction model with customers, the utility has to have near to real-time data, situational awareness, and an ability to send information both directions, both collect from the field and send out into the field in order to effect action. So we've got a number of sessions and tracks that talk about this new challenge with customers. And then lastly, there is a large-scale change going on in the electric space with the significant introduction of renewable energy that's changing the central distribution model and changing the historical monopoly that utilities have had on the generation space and introducing more intermittency into our power supply and more diversity into our power supply in a way that requires a new kind of coordination. In some cases, this introduction of distributed energy is a challenge to the utility business model, but it's also a great opportunity because over the next couple of days, we can talk about ways to define new products and services that the utility can offer in this changing environment in order to drive more value. So let's just, before we talk about that transformation though, we have to acknowledge that there is a really significant challenge that all of us face in terms of aging infrastructure. So how efficiently we maintain these assets, how we allocate capital, again, is absolutely critical because we can't get to the transformation if we can't fulfill our basic function of clean, reliable, and affordable energy and water. And so we are going to be basing all of our discussions on this idea of having the level of information you need to understand how efficiently electricity, gas, and water are being distributed through your systems and giving better awareness to your customers about how and when they're using this product. So we are very aware of this challenge and will continue to focus on helping you to improve asset utilization and capital allocation. Just as an example, in one of the areas where we really see a significant challenge, the cost of producing clean, potable water and then processing that water is increasing dramatically. As we see over the past 8 years, a 54% increase. Water rates are increasing faster than any other commodity rate. And there is a significant challenge there, but also a great opportunity. In the US water system, up to 30% or more of water is lost in the distribution system. And technology can help isolate that loss and drive tremendous efficiency in the water space. And this is critically important on a global basis because as you see over the next decade, up to 2/3 of the planet are going to experience some kind of water scarcity event. And as we're having these discussions with you, our water customers, many of whom are a part of municipal governments, this discussion is broadening out beyond the question of just water efficiency to a broader discussion about smart cities and smart communities. And this is a really exciting opportunity for us, in which we're moving beyond just looking at water consumption to talking about street lighting. As an example, where Itron is now the leader in North America in controlled street lighting with over 3 million street lights under the control of our software and technology. We're moving beyond streetlights to talking about public safety, air quality, and a whole range of issues that make cities more efficient, more livable, and more economically vital. And that discussion is great because it allows us to really talk about how to build a communication canopy, sometimes starting with streetlights, over a city in order to enable a broad range of new options, to really move beyond just metering to addressing a wide range of smart community requirements. And we're going to spend some time talking about this tomorrow with David Graham. So we're really very, very focused and interested in the opportunities here. But going back to this transformative effect of renewables, I just wanted to spend a moment on this topic because the majority of U.S. states, excuse me, the majority of U.S. states have now set renewable portfolio standards or even more aggressive standards for decarbonizing their generation fleet. That's been enabled in large part by the dramatic decrease of solar panels in particular, and the broadening adoption of solar. But we've seen a really interesting thing going on in the past year in which the majority of new capital construction on the generation side in the utilities has shifted onto renewables. 54% is being invested in renewables. And that's a really significant change. The remainder of that investment is going to clean natural gas plants, moving away from coal as quickly as possible. And what this suggests to us, again, is a more diverse generation mix, more distributed assets, a more complex grid, and some really interesting opportunities that come from that. So what have we learned from this? We need to move beyond smart metering and smart grids to start thinking about smart communities and smart cities. We see an emerging opportunity with the technology platform that we're working together on to engage very large commercial and industrial customers, to integrate buildings and industrial controls into a broader technology platform in order to balance and optimize the energy picture. This is only going to be possible if we very actively work with partners, and we want to thank the very active participation of 80 partners that are here with us over the next couple of days, whom you can see in the Knowledge Center, who both sponsored and enabled a number of programs for us, bringing new devices onto the network as quickly as possible, but also helping us to unleash innovation in making sense of the vast amounts of data that are coming through these networks in order to drive for more value. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the data coming through these networks. How do we find the high-value data? How do we interpret that data? And what we're calling focusing on outcomes, how do we get to the action steps? Where do I dig? What do I replace? Who's stealing from me? Just basic questions that are frequently hard to answer when you're overwhelmed with this vast amount of information coming through the networks. These are the problems we're focused on. So I've talked about, I think, the challenges that we face together in the industry. I just want to spend a few minutes talking about the transformation of Itron and what's going on inside of our company. And there is a lot going on. The first thing that you see here is that we're really broadening our historical focus on just the utility space, largely on metering and that kind of collection, to really thinking about all of these assets as critical infrastructure. Increasingly, the devices on the side of the home are sensing devices that are giving all of you unprecedented awareness of what's going on in the field. And these critical assets, along with work that we're doing in the area of distribution automation and broadening out these sensing platforms, has us thinking about how we can increase safety and livability and really broaden the reach of the technology platform that we're using. But before I talk about a couple of very exciting things going on at the company, it's time for the Straight Talk Express. Starting in the end of 2017 and continuing on into 2018, we have let a number of you down. We have been in the process of optimizing our supply chain, of going through a process that many of you have gone through, of looking at what are your highest value add contributions, what should you be doing, what should others be doing. We've contracted out some manufacturing, we've shifted our manufacturing process and forecasting process around. And at the same time that we've been making these changes inside Itron, we have faced an external global supply chain challenge. There's actually kind of good news here in the sense that smart devices, smart automotive, handsets, and all kinds of other smart devices are consuming an unprecedented number of electronic components that have led to worldwide shortages in some basic electronic components that we took for granted were going to be plentifully available to us. This global shortage of electronic components has done two things to us. It's lengthened the lead times for us in the supply chain, and it's significantly increased the cost of procuring these goods. The increased lead times have been expressed in reducing the predictability of our shipments to you. And we understand that when we miss commitments and delivery dates to you, it has a significant impact on your business. It has a significant impact upon your ability to meet the needs of your customers. We take this really seriously and work on it every single day and are committed to working through these issues as quickly as we possibly can. And then on the cost side, this has had a significant impact on Itron that we have absolutely absorbed. The company is very, very strong financially, but it's a good thing that we're as strong as we are because this has really been a challenge. And again, we see this abating during the course of 2019, but it's really has had an impact on you, and it's had an impact on timeliness, and it's had an impact on product quality. We are committed to world-class products and absolute predictability of our deliveries to you. And when we stray, we absolutely need to hear from you, but I want you to know how seriously we take how imperative it is for us to correct this as quickly as possible. I'm really excited, though, about what's come out of the R&D shop over the past year. There are a couple of things I would just want to point out that I hope you'll go take a look at in the Knowledge Center. The first is the Intellis gas and water meters. What's so great about this? We see the transformation that we saw on the electric side when we moved from analog electric meters to digital electric meters. It opened up the opportunity for these smart grids and this technology platform. That same kind of transformation of going to digital measurement, embedded communications, the addition of additional sensors in the field will give us the opportunity to really accelerate the adoption of smart gas and water networks. So we're excited not only about these game-changing measurement products, but how these interact with the other devices in the network, because we see a tremendous opportunity to improve safety and reliability in gas and water networks. And talking about reliability, in the next image there is a pole tilt sensor, the ability to, during a severe storm event, to be able to measure the inclination of distribution poles, so when weather disrupts a pole, that you're able to sense that much more quickly and dispatch a crew directly to where the problem exists in order to reduce outage and improve reliability of the overall electric grid. And on the gas side, the ability to sense a methane leak and issue a remote shutoff command if you have that capability, or dispatch a crew even more quickly. And we are committed to this, and these products really were done with close work with customers and listening to their requirements, and we really like working this way, so encourage you to come forward with your ideas about how we can, again, put out more sensors in order to drive for increased reliability and resiliency. We launched a Bring Your Own Thermostat program this year. Why is that important? It embodies to us the principle of using an open standard and of working with partners, that we're accepting third-party devices onto our system in order to accelerate innovation. And this starts with thermostats and demand response, but think of this as bring your own car charger, bring your own solar inverter, bring your own storage device onto the network. As more devices are added onto the network and the challenge of balancing supply and demand becomes more complex, we're making investments in the platform that's going to allow us to see and understand the effects of these devices and help to balance and create new product and service opportunities for you in this kind of an environment. And lastly, over the past year, we've made a tremendous amount of progress in the area that we're calling managed services. And this is an increasing area for us where you're asking us not just to provide the product, the technology, and the initial service associated with a project, but actually having us manage the system on an ongoing basis. And our goal is to do this more economically, reliably, and scalably than it's possible for any one single customer to do. But the real end goal is to then work with you to say, as we're collecting all of this data, and only with your permission, that we look into the data together in order to find where the highest value information is coming to allow you to drive better outcomes for your company. So thank you for the confidence you've expressed in us. Over 1,000 of our customers are now relying on us for this type of managed service. This is growing rapidly for us, and it creates an ongoing opportunity for a very powerful exchange between us about the value of the data and how to drive better outcomes from this information. Marina mentioned that the acquisition was announced a year ago. It was actually, of Silver Spring Networks, was actually completed on January 5th of this year. This followed on the acquisition of Convergence, the largest residential demand response company in North America. And we are so pleased with how the Silver Spring acquisition is coming along. Marina mentioned these things are never easy, but I have to tell you, we are thrilled with the talent that we have acquired and integrated into the company. We're thrilled with the technology, which I'm going to spend a moment talking about next. And we're also thrilled with you, the customers who are here attending with us, because on a combined basis, Itron now serves 7 out of the 10 of the largest population centers in the United States, 8 out of the 10 of the largest electric investor-owned utilities. The footprint, our combined footprint, is very large. And together, these two companies, with you, have the opportunity to accelerate innovation and to create much greater business outcome success for you. So we are so excited about what the opportunities that this acquisition and combination bring to us. And I just want to give you a preview of a discussion you're going to hear more about over the next couple of days and about our Convergence plan. And before I get into just a few quick details about this Convergence slide that you see up here, I want to point out the most important part of the slide, which you don't see. We will continue to support all of the technology that you have deployed in the field and have purchased through the life of those assets. We understand our core business is supporting you across your regulatory time frame of 15 or 20 years. And this is absolutely core to our business. What we are focused on is how do we develop the best firmware and software that allows you to upgrade as much of this technology to extend its capability and life as far into the future as possible, and have this opportunity to build the strongest, most powerful network that is available anywhere in the world. And the way that we're doing that is we're taking the best of what legacy Itron did, knowledge across electricity, gas, and water, working with battery-powered and continuous-powered devices, and this very powerful idea that we've talked to you about before of distributed intelligence, enabling the active grid by being able to push processing out into the edge, breaking this model of just collecting all of the data to a central location to analyze. We have new products that are actually performing these analytics at the edge of the network and communicating between one another, peer-to-peer communications. So we're bringing that into the converged architecture and taking Silver Spring's high speed, high reliability, low latency, highly secure network backbone and putting these things together. Silver Spring had done a wonderful job of being visible and vocal on open standards and had done a great job of recruiting a large partner ecosystem. And we're putting those two programs together to really accelerate standards and partner ecosystem. So we're very excited about this convergence architecture, and we'll be talking to you more about that over the coming days. So what are we focused on, though, underneath the details of that convergence plan? As you heard, a standards-based network. We're focusing on the Wi-SUN standard. Think of this as Wi-Fi for the Internet of Things. How do you just plug something into a network like Wi-Fi that just immediately connects? That drives down costs and it gives you more choice. We understand you're asking us for the ability to be able to purchase from multiple vendors and to work at the speed of an ecosystem, not depending upon a single supplier. And as we think about that network that we're working on, we're thinking, as I said, 5 years in the future, 10, 15 years in the future. The reliability, scalability, and durability of the assets that we're putting out in the field is critically important to us. And we're looking ahead beyond even smart cities, out at the industrial Internet of Things. How do we package this technology in a way that gives you tremendous possibilities for developing new products and services? Those will be enabled by active work with partners, and the value of all of this work is going to come from the value we drive from the data that we're collecting. So how we store, analyze, organize, and optimize data and turn around and provide an outcome back is critically important for our long-term success together. So in closing, this is such an exciting time in our industry because the tools and technology we've put out into the field allow us, I think, to act upon these 4 large forces that I mentioned from the Resourcefulness Project. Tremendous opportunity to increase operational efficiency, to address how capital is allocated and how we support aging infrastructure concerns. And the ability to increase resiliency and reliability of networks, to engage with customers in ways that meet their expectations, and to address the challenges, but also the tremendous opportunities that a more diverse network will bring with the introduction of distributed energy resources. This is the path for us. It gives us the opportunity to provide to you a platform that we hope will make your companies more successful, will make you more successful inside your companies, will deepen your relationship with your customers, engage you in a broader discussion about smart communities and smart cities where your companies are really such large players in those communities, to drive more sustainable communities and more economic vitality, and have a very positive impact not only in the communities that you serve, but our society as a whole. Thank you very much. Enjoy the conference.